But what I have to understand is that I still have full control of the 40%. That is your job. That is my job. And although we may have these predetermined factors, 40% is on me. 40%, even though I was pissed off, I went into the gym and I had a good workout. But that didn't really help my irritability. Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. Today's episode is, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed. Like, the conditions are not ideal for me to be happy. Like, at least not right now. I was, tossing and turning last night. My back is aching. I'm pissed off that I woke up 30 minutes late. I'm like, I got up and I'm looking outside. I'm like, damn it. I'm 30 minutes late. I'm pissed off that there's contractors calling me early in the morning. I'm pissed off that, just the whole process of just getting my day going. I know I have to go work out. And I know I have to go drop off my daughters, and I know I have to get ready for work, and I'm thinking all these thoughts of like all I have to do, and I'm just irritable by the entire process of it, right? And it sets conditions that are not ideal for me to really go on to my day to really kill it. When you wake up in a hole, it's hard to dig ourselves out. It really is, and for a long time I thought it was my attitude towards it. I thought it was it's just my mindset on it, of all the things that I have to do. But a lot of this is really a genetic makeup of who we are. I was reading this article just the other day. As a matter of fact, I was doing research on how to be happy last night, and I wake up just irritable. Go figure, right? So, it talks about how research suggests that only about 10% of people's happiness is due to their life circumstances. So, for example, we all work, or we get up every morning to look good. Let's just say we work out every day to try to look good. Maybe that's a goal that we have. Or we work really hard to get that car we've always wanted, or to live in that house that we've always dreamed of. And, the research was suggesting that, even though that brings happiness, it's only for a short term. It doesn't really last. It only happens for that moment. For example, like, I remember when I first bought my car. Brand new car, drove it off the lot, 0 miles on it. It's like perfect. For the first 2 to 3 weeks, I was like elated. I was happy. And then after the first couple months, like, I stopped really caring as much about this purchase that I made. And I found myself going back to the same level of happiness that I was before. Like, all that we do sometimes and everything that we're working for is just for spurts of that happiness, right? It doesn't really last long term. And I think that comes from, just achieving a goal or just wanting that materialistic thing or more money, just to feel a sudden instance of maybe security. But I found out just through this research that only 10% of our happiness is due to these life circumstances. So every day we work to get the things that we want, only to give us a small blip, a small little bump in our current mood. Then I started reading further along, and it says that about 50% of the reason why we're happy or unhappy is made up of our genetic makeup. So regardless of how hard we push in our business, how much we strive into our relationship, right? Creating that ideal situation in our marriage, how much we go after buying that new car, that new house, 50% of it's already made up within our genes. And only 10% is made up of actually achieving that, right? Actually getting that as a materialistic item. And I started thinking about that. I'm like, if our happiness is already predetermined, where it's 50% of that is already predetermined by our genetics, what about irritability? What about sadness, depression, right? And they do say that is a mental illness that some of us have to fight harder to find that equilibrium, that happiness, and that drive to move forward. And we've all seen those individuals that are just driven every single day, right? It seems like they're just on fire. And I have you consider that some of them do have an advantage over us. They do. Some of us wake up pissed off. Some of us wake up sad. Some of us wake up defeated, while others are elated. They can't wait to start the day. And these are all items that we have to be aware of. And for me, I've realized that I do get irritable a lot. I do get pissed off a lot. Things do trigger me. But I've done the right things over time to be able to not to allow it to prolong itself, not to allow it to overwhelm me or to create the conditions for me, right? I've learned to be able to take certain steps so that I can take control and understand that irritability or that sadness that you may be facing or that depression or whatever it may be, whatever feelings you're feeling, that you have control. Because the next 40%, is due to intentional behavior. That's what creates happiness, or that's what creates moods. So after the 10% of the people is to your circumstance, the house you live in, the cars you drive, 50% is genetic makeup, and the other 40% is based on your intentional behavior. So here's the thing. We do have a fighting chance. We do have a fighting chance to be able to create the conditions we need to kill the day today. So even though you may wake up in this huge pit, in this hole, we still have the ability to climb out of that. It doesn't have to overwhelm us. And just like this morning, I'm just pissed off at the world. I don't know why. Like, I'm in the gym and I'm just like, what? I'm pissed off that I'm in the gym. I'm pissed off that it's tiring me out. I mean, I'm in this mindset where it's like, dude, I don't feel like doing anything. I feel like just punching something or screaming at the top of my lungs, or I don't know. I just have this built up energy that's not necessarily positive. Now, I've been in this situation before. And some of you may face this on a daily basis. So we have to talk about what are the things that we have to do in order to offset that. Now, I've created a lifestyle that has created a foundation for myself, that if I do certain things, I will be able to get in a position where I'm going to win the day, where I'm going to win the week, regardless of what my initial thoughts are. Now, there's some days where I'm just happy. Like, I can't wait to get my day started. I go into the gym and I'm all pumped up. I'm energized. I don't even need my pre-workout regimen, right? I'm feeling really good. On those days, like, I need to be able to embrace those days, because that's when serious things are going to happen for me, right? I'm feeling good already. I don't have to climb out of this deep hole, this deep pit. But I also realize that some days I'm not going to feel that way, and today is one of them. And I'm feeling better already just talking about it. Talking about the fact that there just certain things just pissed me off this morning. I didn't want to talk to anyone. Like Carla and I are not even really, we said a couple things to each other because I think she's feeling the same way. Maybe it was a full moon last night. Maybe can somebody research that? Was there a full moon last night? Because I think Carla's feeling the same way, and maybe she needs to talk on this. But we only said a few things to each other. Not pissed off about anything towards each other, but usually our mornings are a little bit more involved. But for both of us today, it was just like one of those days. Now, we just have to understand that, okay, not every day I'm going to wake up on fire. Not every day I'm going to feel energized. Not every day I'm going to want to deal with my clients, right? Or the work ahead of us. Now it goes back to the foundation you've been laying for many, many years. Like, over the last week, I've been seeing all these reminders on Facebook about what I was doing 4 years ago on this day, what I was doing 5 years ago on this day. And I got a couple comments because I shared that. I shared what I was doing today, and I shared it for others to see. And I got a couple people saying, wow, that's consistency. And that is my foundation. Because days like this, I would have completely made it worse. I would have got up and I would have got in a bigger fight with my wife, right? I would have got in a fight. I just wouldn't given her the space, or she wouldn't given me the space. I would have made things worse. I would have got in a huge fight with her. Then I would have found a way to yell at my kids on the way to school. Then I would have found ways to yell at my dogs, blame my dogs for something. I would have gone progressively worse from this already deep pit. We need to understand that our job is not to just to be in that place is okay. Like me admitting that I'm pissed off is like a step towards not being pissed off. But me keeping this to myself and you keeping this to yourself is only a means to make things worse. And I've done that. I think we've all done that, where we take a bad situation and just made it worse because we weren't able to express ourselves or just to create that space not to unleash on somebody else. Like the guy that cut me off, or the Starbucks lady that didn't make my coffee correct this morning, right? It seems like things poke at you even more when you're not in that place. My coffee's always right out of this Starbucks, but today they messed it up. And it's like the world almost knows. Like if you're going down the slippery slope, there's ways you can make it worse. And it's going to set up conditions for you to feel like it's worse. And all it really was coincidence. There's nobody out to get me. My kids are not out to make me feel even more irritable. My spouse, right? Even my team. They're not here to make things worse for me. I'm just fixated on the minor things, on the shit that doesn't really matter. And that's what we have to think about. When we're in this place of not feeling that full power, we have to stop fixating on the things that really don't matter. We have to really stop fixating on the things that don't matter. So I don't know how you're feeling today. Maybe you're on fire, and I'll tell you this. When I'm on fire, when things are going good, I don't fixate on the small things. I let them go. But it seems like when I'm not happy, I fixate on the things that don't make me happy. I start blaming others. And one of the things that I've learned is, over these past years, as I'm seeing my own progression in my finances, as I'm seeing my own progression on my lifestyle and my overall happiness, I would say I'm more happy today than I've ever been. And it's not necessarily because I have more money, because again, that's only 10% of what creates happiness according to this research. It's because I've been able to now take more control of the 40%, which is intentional behavior. Because if 50% of it is made up of genetic, and I'm not saying all 50% means that it is that, 50% states that, it's genetically made up for you. But it doesn't mean that all 50 is like negative. I just have a certain standard. Maybe my happiness level is up here. But when I wake up in the morning, because 50% of it is already predetermined for me, maybe it's just 2 levels before or slightly above. But what I have to understand is that I still have full control of the 40%. That is your job. That is my job. And although we may have these predetermined factors, 40% is on me. 40%, even though I was pissed off, I went into the gym. And I had a good workout. But that didn't really help my irritability. But I set the foundation. And I started meditating. It wasn't my best meditation, but I still did it. And here's the thing that I want you to consider here. We can make things worse. You can be in this place of despair right now. But understand, that might just be your genetic makeup there. You still have full control of the rest of the 50% to make things better and not to make things worse. I decided to take control. I decided to talk about it, and I'm talking about it right now. And I understand that I'm responsible for creating the conditions, and I can't blame this on anyone else. I will continue to do the things that I need to do in order to have a great day. I'm going to kill it today. Because now I'm slowly maneuvering myself, understanding what makes me tick, what makes me go, and I still did the things that will fuel me to keep going. How can I have made this worse? By refusing to do the things that I'm supposed to do for my body. By refusing to do the things that I know help me with my mind. And that is a difference. Because my mind is going in this pit of like, Just like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I don't. And I don't need to figure that out. I'm not just going to sit here. I shouldn't be feeling this way. Pissed off because I'm pissed off. I don't. I just need to keep going. And I need to understand that things will change. This is only for the short term. Especially if I'm setting the conditions for myself and not thinking that the conditions have already been set for me. I am going to kill the day because I am here regardless of how I'm feeling. I showed up to the gym regardless of how I was feeling. I drove my kids, gave them a kiss, told them I loved them, regardless of what I'm feeling. So even though there's this baseline for me today, and your baseline could be different, your baseline could be sadness. I need you to get up. Be in that place. You could be sad while you're working out. You could be angry while you're working out. Because refusing to do nothing about it will only further and prolong how long you remain there. Refusing to do anything about it will further prolong how long you stay there. So it's a choice. You're not always going to be happy. Your genes might be directly against you being happy every single day. But you still have control of how you will respond to it. I know where I'm going today. I have a list of items I need to do. But before I do that, I'm going to take a few more minutes. As soon as I'm done here, I'm just going to go for a drive and go to another Starbucks to make things right. I'm going to give them another opportunity to make my coffee just right. Because I don't want to go the rest of the day saying, the Starbucks lady messed up my coffee. So I'm going to take a few more minutes. Because I have big shit to accomplish today, and so do you. So regardless of where you're at right now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling energetic and happy, awesome. Double down on those feelings. Go after it hard. But if you're in the hole like I am right now, start digging yourself out. Start doing that right now by setting the conditions for you to win. I didn't make things worse, and I'm proud of myself for doing that. I'm so proud of myself for doing that. Because this is where I've created the worst arguments in my marriage. When I've been in the same place. This is where I made the worst decisions for my business. This is where I've blown up on my own clients. Or my teammates. Or my employees. This is where I've made things worse. But I'm already 10 steps higher than I was this morning. Because even though I was in that pit, I've done the right things right now, including being in this mindset mastery, to guarantee I will not go down that slippery slope. To guarantee I will win the day. I am already much further ahead than I was already at 6 o'clock this morning. Much further. Because I refuse to make things worse. Refuse it. Understand it's all within your control. And this too shall pass. These feelings shall too remove themselves from you. Your job? Don't make it worse. Give yourself some space. That's exactly what I'm going to do. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm just going to sit by myself at a Starbucks, enjoy that. Maybe journal out what I'm feeling. Come back to my team, have the meetings I have scheduled, and just kill it. You have that control too. Because we're not always going to feel on fire, and that's okay. But we will not make things worse. What are you guys hearing in this conversation? Let's go ahead. Can you go all the way to the top? It's hard to really read that. I'm feeling good already. My back is not as tense as it was. Just letting that out. Good morning, Nick, Isabel. Good morning, Liz. Good morning, Jessica, Teresa, Sharon. Gabe, good morning. Yoni, Olivia. Anyone else? Kaylin, Susan, Jessica, Gabe, we can hear and see you. Awesome. Ready to seize the day. Awesome, Sharon. LOL, I'm going to Starbucks too. It's amazing how we make a mountain out of a molehill. This is not a big deal. It's just a moment in time. And it's just awesome knowing a little bit more about ourselves, right? That regardless of where we're at, how much success we've made or have created for ourselves, we always have a certain level of baseline of feelings we're always going to feel. And understanding that, we just have to continue to move forward and saying, hey, there's still a big portion of that. It's about intentional behavior, accomplishment, a sense of accomplishment that will ultimately determine our overall happiness, our overall fulfillment. It is on us. It is on you. So again, I know exactly what I need to do. And regardless of how I woke up or how pissed off I was, I have full control of the conditions moving forward. And I've set a foundation. So guys, thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. You know exactly what to do. Yoni, go out and kill the day. Wendy, I felt like that 2 weeks ago, and it took me another week to get out of it. I feel so much better today. And here's the real game, Wendy, and I'm glad you mentioned that. When you're able to shift it within hours, that's when real growth happens. Because I too used to let these feelings just overwhelm me because I made things worse. So instead of being a 2-hour thing, I made it a 2-week thing. Because I messed things up with Carla, I messed things up with my kids, with my business. So all I did was try to repair all the problems that I created for myself. When all I had to do was just create a little space for myself and realize that I'm in this place for a reason. My job is not to make things worse. So as you're able to collapse that time from 2 weeks to 2 days to 2 hours to 2 minutes, real growth actually happens during that time frame. Jasmine, only we have the power to control whether or not we're going to have a good day. Perspective is everything. Absolutely. And that's what we have to do is master our own behaviors, master the way we show up to certain things. So we know exactly what to do. Let's go about it. So if you're feeling great, double down on that. If you're in the hole like I am, let's just take steps to get ourselves out. I'm on my way to Starbucks. Guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We got a busy week this week. Check your calendars. And thank you again for joining me for another episode of Mindset Mastery. And I will talk to you soon. Bye now.